Okay, so we are reading Princess Mia a bedtime story. We read a bedtime story? Yes?
It's Ugly Sisters.
The Ugly Stepsisters. We are reading The Ugly Stepsisters. You happy?
Yes.
Yay! The Ugly Stepsisters. Okay, so we are going to start on page 1, okay? Alright, so relax, okay? Lay down. Alright, today was the day Cinderella's stepsisters and stepmother were to arrive. Cinderella and Prince Charming waited at the entrance of their castle. Come on, lay down. You gotta lay down for this one. You gotta lay down and get ready for bedtime, okay?
Then the prince and Cinderella want to go to a ball. And get wait home.
Yes.
The prince has unicorns.
Okay.
And the mouses have brooms. And the have knives.
And what else?
The castle.
Okay. Now lay down. I read for you, okay? Alright.
So what the ugly stepsisters?
I'm gonna tell you about them, okay? Alright. There they are, says Cinderella. Now, we must be sure to make this a happy visit after all. I have not seen my stepsisters and stepmother for such a long time. Yes, my love, said the prince. Okay, now we go to the next page. Lay down. Okay. Stepmother, Drizella and Anastasia. I am so happy to see you, said Cinderella. My Cinderella, how pretty you look, said the stepmother. Would you send our clothes up right away? The girls must have their beauty rest. We've had a busy day. Yes, stepmother, whatever you say, said Cinderella.
Yay.
Lay down. Okay. Oh boy! Look at all those boxes! Looks as if they are going to stay a long time, Jack said to Gus. Then they hurried after Cinderella to see if they could help. You gotta lay down, Stinky. You gotta get ready. You gotta relax. This is a bedtime story. Look, we on the next page already. Lay down. Lay down. All right. The sisters and their mother went up to rest. Then they came downstairs just in time to eat. Cinderella had ordered the cook to make all foods that the stepsisters loved. I hope you will be here. Stinky, you gotta lay down if you want me to keep reading. You want me to keep reading or no? You gotta stay laying down. You can't get up, okay? Okay? Don't get back up, okay? Lay down. Alright. Of course, we will be happy here, said the stepmother. Why shouldn't we be happy? She asked. The prince watched them and wondered, how could his kind, beautiful Cinderella have such mean and ugly stepsisters? Oh. All right. After supper, the sisters and their mother went to their rooms. Who does Cinderella think she is? She sure was showing off for us, sneered Anastasia. Yes, and I don't think the prince looked very happy, do you, mother? Asked Drizella. Drizella? What kind of name is Drizella? That's an ugly name for an ugly stepsister, right? Don't fuss over Cinderella, my girls. You are both more beautiful than she is, said their mother. I just know the prince was wishing he had married one of you. Now you know the mother is capping. You know her mama capping. Ain't her mama capping?
He's camping.
Yep. Her mama capping. Her sisters is ugly, and they over there eating the food like apes. Look at him. He over here smiling. See, don't he like he's smiling?
Yeah. Cinderella's sad.
Look at her sisters. Her sister look like don't they look like doggies?
Yeah.
And her mama look like an ugly mutt face.
A
That's a fat cat. It look just like her sisters and her mama. All right. So let's get on to the next page. Lay down. All right. All right. Meanwhile, Cinderella and her prince were taking a walk. I wonder how long they will stay, said the prince. They don't seem to be very happy, even here. If only they each had a husband as nice as you, said Cinderella. Then they would be as happy as I am. I know. Let's surprise them and give them a grand party, said Cinderella. And we will ask all of the fine men in the kingdom to come to it, said the prince. Oh, yes, cried Cinderella. That ain't even gonna get her sisters no husband because they ugly. That's why they the ugly stepsisters. Looking like they...
Auntie B, I want the ugly stepsisters.
Her sisters ugly, ain't they?
This is scary.
They is scary. That's how ugly they is. They so ugly, they scary. Alright. The next morning, Cinderella called her servants together. She told them about the party. It is a surprise, she whispered. Hey, stop. Lay down. Be sure not to let my stepsisters know. We'll say it's a party for some very important people. Yeah, they very important because they ugly. But the stepsisters had been hiding at the bottom of the stairs. They heard the word party. What is all of this about a party? They wondered. They heard Cinderella say it was a party for important people. The sisters ran to tell their mother. Important people indeed, said the sisters to their mother. She just wants to show off again. Don't worry, my dears, their mother said. Just listen to me. I have plans for Cinderella's important party. The sisters listened. Then they laughed. Oh, what fun, they said. Come on, you gotta lay down, Stinky. Lay down. It's a bedtime story. Come on, lay down. Come on, lay down. You don't want me to read no more? Okay. In the library sat the prince and Cinderella. The prince called out the name of every man in the kingdom. For each name, Cinderella wrote an invitation. A servant carried all of the invitations to the hall. That night, the sisters crept downstairs to the hall. We will take care of Cinderella and her party plans, all right, they laughed to each other. Let's just put the invitations into the wrong envelopes. Then the guests will be very upset. They will not want to come to the party. Oh. Jack and Gus heard the stepsisters' evil plan. They waited until the sisters went back to bed. They over here trying to do something nice for y'all. Y'all over here being ugly ass. We don't have a minute to waste, cried Gus. We must put the invitations in order or Cinderella's party will be ruined, said Jack. Gus and Jack worked all night. At last, the invitations were in order. The next night, the stepsisters crept down to the kitchen. A little salt in the sugar, said Anastasia, and a bit of soap in the flour, added Drizella. We'll make a lovely cake. The sisters laughed to each other. Oh! Then they ran to tell their mother what they had done. They did not see Jack and Gus. The food for the party will be ruined, cried Gus. There's only one thing to do, said Jack. We will have to pour out all the sugar and flour. Then the cook will have to buy more. Jack and Gus want to work. The next morning, the cook was in for a big surprise. There was sugar and flour everywhere. She hurried to the store to get some more in time to bake the cake for Cinderella's party. Malachi is constantly trying to ruin this bedtime story. I think she's asleep though. So we left off at meanwhile Cinderella's servants. Okay. Alright, we'll finish it. You're not asleep. Meanwhile, Cinderella's servants were making beautiful party dresses. The dresses were to be part of the stepsisters' surprise. But the sisters found out about the dresses. They thought the dresses were for Cinderella. The stepsisters marched right into the sewing room. These dresses are not good enough for Cinderella, they sneered. Those ugly ribbons will have to come off. And with that, the sisters ripped up the dresses. Then they left the room. Now Cinderella won't have a single new dress to wear at her party. They laughed. Oh! This is what ugly people get. Look at her ugly snare of her face. Isn't she ugly? Look at her how she's snaring.
What?
Right there. Look at her. She like her face is about to fart like. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get to the next one. Cinderella came into the sewing room to see how the dresses looked, but there was no new dresses. There were just tatters and rags. Her servants were crying. They told her what had happened. Oh dear. My stepsister just wanted to help. Don't worry, I will help you finish the dresses in time. How kind she is, whispered the servants, and how wicked those jealous stepsisters are. Wicked they are. Wicked they are. At last, it was the day of the ball. While the servants were setting up the ballroom, the stepsisters put their cat to work. He ran through the ballroom and onto the table. Plates and silverware flew through the air. Get that cat! A servant shouted. The servants chased the cat all around the castle. If they had rifles, they should have shot that cat. Made them stepsisters mad. Oh, you shot my cat! You shot my dear cat! Oh. Oh my! What a mess, said Cinderella. A servant tried to tell her about the cat. Well, don't worry, I will help you clean up. We still have some time before the party, Cinderella said. Cinderella sang as she worked. Soon everyone was happy and smiling. Gus and Jack helped too. At last, the ballroom sparkled and shone. Meanwhile, the stepsisters were getting ready for the party. How embarrassed Cinderella will be. The guests will laugh at her when they see how her sisters dress for her parties, they said. This will teach Cinderella to show off for my girls, said the stepmother. Her attitude is ugly. So is her personality and her face. At last, it was time for the party. The guests began to arrive. I hear that Cinderella has 2 stepsisters, said one duke. I wonder if they are as beautiful as Cinderella, said another. Unfortunately, my friend, they were not.